This little rock in here reminds me of something that happened in Poland. It was, I think, the fourth or the fifth day there. Don't remember exactly, and we were on the beach of this uh, Chechlo Zalew, as they say it. It's not a sea, it's a lake, and yeah, it's like a mini beach in there. So we were playing basketball, or were we? I don't know. We were doing something, and after that we had like an hour and something before we do the next thing. So they said do whatever you want in that time, and I went to the bungalows, however you call them. I got my suit for swimming, and I went to the beach again to swim. But there was the leader of our group, and he didn't let us in the water. I mean, we could go anyways. Not that he actually stopped us, but he was getting very angry when we even actually tried to get in. Wait a bit, I'm just gonna shut the window. I'm good. Okay. I was there with. There were two girls from our group, the only two girls from our group, me, the leader, and later on the Poland, two Polish boys came, and I was, just going to swim, but he was like, "Don't you dare doing that," and I was like, "Okay, tell me why, explain me, tell me your arguments, why shouldn't I get into there?" And he was just like screaming and uh, he was horrified, and I didn't want to make him, angrier because it's not worth it when you make something for yourself and you get to hurt others. So I I just went on maximum to my knees in the water, just staying there and looking at it and thinking about how much he'll get angry on this if I do it. And the girls were daring me, they're like, "Come on, go, go, go!" But uh, he was getting angrier and angrier, and I didn't want to make him this. I don't know why. He thought that his mother was going to scream to him because she was the main leader, and he was quote unquote responsible for us, and he thought that if I go to cold water, his mom would beat him up, something like that, scream on him too. So, it's kind of like this game. I won't do this because he'll scream at me, and the guy that's screaming is screaming because someone's screaming on him, because and the guy that's screaming on him is someone is screaming on him, and blah blah blah, blah. Tongue tires. So then those Polish guys came. One of them, he dared me to get into the water. He kind of almost pushed me in there. Um, and I really didn't want to get him mad, the leader, so I didn't do it. I already had been in the uh, lake before. I think it was the second or the third day I was in the lake. So yeah, it wasn't that much of a regret to me that I didn't go because I already was there and into much colder water, I think. It was like 5 p.m. No, not p.m. a.m., right? Yeah, I think 5 a.m. So I didn't go there, and um, you know, then he went off. He battled with with those Polish guys, and he went to his bungalow. And there was not much time left, like maybe half an hour. And then I was thinking, should I go now, because he's not gonna get angry now, but it was like my wish was already disappearing, my wish to swim. And then the main leader came and I talked with her, and she told me that he's worried about uh, him being screamed by her, stuff like that, and that he doesn't know the individual factor. He doesn't know if I'm sustainable to cold. And I picked up this stone just like a memory for that story. I'm probably gonna throw it now after I record this video. This is the idea of the videos. You record the item and then you throw it out. You're free of it. So a day after that, sometime later, I talked with him, the leader, and he said that he was worried also, not just this, but also that if I go into the water, the girls will too, and the girls are not so strong, as me. I mean, they're much more cold sensitive, so they could catch a flu, because they were skinny, like very thin, and they would easier get a cold or something like that. And I will, if I went to the water, I will be like an example that his rules aren't real. So he didn't want me to do that. And if he just told me that in the beginning, like uh, I don't know, without even the girls hearing, because that's not gonna be appropriate for them. But if he just told me this in the start, I would really understand much more, and I would, just go back to the bungalows and do something else, like some sport or something. So that's a big lesson, that sometimes it's just more appropriate to explain, especially to people like me, because I don't understand, like uh, if someone is commanding me, like do this, and I'm like, why? Like, if it doesn't make sense to me, like if it's something like, someone is in the fire and someone tells me get him off the fire, that's gonna make sense. But if it's like let's say we're baking a cake and we just put it in the oven, and if he says get it out of the oven, and I'm like, why? Why should I do that? Is there any reason? Because we just made the cake. But if he tells me, like, we forgot the sealing, the this sugar thing, the top of it, and then I'm gonna get it off. So sometimes, not in all situations, but in part of them, if you just explain the reason, like if it's something logical, like I'm not talking about excuses, I'm talking about real reasons. If you just say the reason instead of trying to command, it's just gonna go easier and more simple, more simple. So that's a big story I learned in there. A big lesson from that story, yeah. Thank you for watching, goodbye.